Hey everybody, Jordan Hammond here, Buy, Build, Hold. Wanted to do a video today to explain a little bit about how I got interested in micro private equity. All right, you're probably saying, what the heck is my micro private equity? Well, I had the same question about a year ago. I had no idea what it was. But how I came to discover what it was through a process of looking at real estate investing and saying, maybe that's not a fit for me, maybe I'm looking for a better return and looking for other options. So I wanted to give that comparison today. All right, what you see here, real estate investment versus a micro private equity investment. And this is the comparison that I did about a year ago that got me started on this journey of looking at investing in small businesses. Now, micro private equity, by my definition, is investing directly in a small business, taking an ownership investment in most cases of a business valued under $2 million, and I would primarily focus on the under $1 million valuation. And the reason why is because there's not a lot of competition in those spaces from sophisticated investors. The private equity companies, they're not looking at this niche of businesses under $2 and $1 million. They're out looking for the $100 million companies. These little ones simply aren't worth their time, all right? So who you're competing against is just a lot of individual people looking to own a business that they'll actually run themselves, or other people like me that are looking at investing in a portfolio of small businesses. And I gotta be honest, there's not a lot of us. There's not a lot of competition. So when I looked at real estate about 4 or 5 years ago, I saw a ton of competition. Everybody was investing in real estate. I started attending events. I started talking to buddies. I had 5 friends alone that were investing in real estate in some way, shape, or form, whether flipping, buying, holding, or notes. Okay, there was a ton of people doing it. There was 100 shows on HGTV, talking about it. Everybody had the real estate bug. So I started looking at properties, making offers, attending these things, and I found out very quickly the returns just weren't what I was looking for, and there was just too much competition there. Now, I'm not hating on anybody investing in real estate. It is a great way to make wealth in a de-risked way long term. Okay, it is that, and there are people that have done fantastic with the real estate. So don't get me wrong. I'm not hating on real estate. This is just my journey of how I got to the micro private equity side. Okay, so my background, I started a company 8 years ago. It's been doing really well. It's grown a lot. It took a ton of work, and a couple years ago, 3 or 4 years ago actually, it was making some good money, still is making good money, throwing off good cash. And I started saying, what else can I invest in? I want to diversify a little bit. 1, I'm a little bit bored. 2, I got a little bit of money to play with, all right? And 3, I want something just different to keep me interested. Like I mentioned, looked at real estate, wasn't really for me. And then I just had this thought one day. I said, just somewhere deep inside of me said, what about flipping businesses? And I wondered, is anybody out there flipping businesses? So I did what everybody does when they have an idea. You go to Google, right? Flipping small businesses, right? Google that. Found a guy. There's a few guys out there that are doing it. I found a guy, connected with him. I've been working with him for the past 8 months now. I've been in his program. Fantastic, fantastic guy. All right. And what he does is exactly this. He has a portfolio of about 50 to 60 companies, and he holds most of them, he sells some of them, but he invests in small businesses. All right, and we've already done one deal together. Working on another deal that I'll do a video on. It's not with him, this is my own deal that I found. Really excited about it. It's a no money down deal, and just could be a really good fit. So we're negotiating. It's pretty much negotiated. We just have to sign off on the LOI and go into due diligence on it. But I'll do a separate video on that just to explain the process where that's at. So let's go into the numbers here. I just want to show in a very general outline framework kind of way the process that I went through that sold me on private equity. I think this stuff is really interesting. I think it's pretty insane once you see these numbers on the micro private equity side then not really anybody does this. You know, if you told somebody that you're a micro private equity investor, the look on their face would say, what the heck is that? And what do you do, really? You know, which is probably the way that you're looking at this video right now. So I'm about to show you, all right? Let's look at the real estate side first. I put out a very simple example here of a real estate investment, all right? We have a 5 cap rate, which is just a way of valuing real estate as a cap rate. So that's the income if there was no debt service, if the asset was fully paid off, over the value of the property, the purchase price in this case. And 5 cap rate is what I use for this example. Most real estate investors would say they'd be thrilled with a 5 cap rate, all right, especially in this environment of this low interest rate environment. $300K purchase price, closing costs $6K, very reasonable. All right, so you got $306 total price, capital down 25%. Most investment properties that I know of, you have to put down 25% for commercial mortgages, they're called. We got the other people's money, banks' money in this case, at 4%, which, yeah, you can get great rates on real estate. That's at a 30-year amortization, working out to about $1,100 a month for simplicity's sake. All right, your income at a 5 cap rate for this property, $1,800 a month, works out to $21,600 a year. Expenses, maintenance at 1% of purchase price, good rule of thumb. Property taxes, insurance, 1%, probably a little low actually in this case. So 3 and 3 there. Those are your expenses plus your debt service of $13,200, which is your $1,100 a month times 12. Very simple. $19,200 are your expenses. Your income of $21,600 gets you a net income at the end of the year of $2,400. All right, your ROI on that, cash on cash return, which is the most important return, cash on cash, 3.4%. So that's your $2,400 over your initial investment of $76,500. 3.4%. Not a lot of people getting excited about 3.4%. All right, 30-year ROI. So you got to look at real estate's a long-term play, right? You're getting your payoff at the end of the day, not necessarily on a year-to-year basis. Kind of one of the downsides of real estate. So appreciation of your asset, 2% a year is a good rule of thumb. Yeah, I know lots of real estate right now is going up 5-6% a year. We also have a thing called crashes where you get a 30-40% decline. Real estate tends to model inflation. It tends to be an inflation hedge. So about a 2% a year appreciation there. Takes you to a valuation of $550,000 on your property in 30 years, and then your mortgage pay down. So paying off the other people's money, the bank, of $229,500, and then your net income, your annual net income of $72,000. So a total return after 30 years, $551,500. Divide that by 30, $18,383 a year. Comes out to a 24% ROI. That's not cash on cash. That's a return after 30 years. So that payday is at the end of the line. You can maybe pull some of that out, you know, after a number of years with a home equity line of credit. All right, but real estate, the payday, like I mentioned, back end. Let's look at a micro private equity deal. So what I have here is a 2.5 multiple that I put on this deal. Now that's a pretty reasonable multiple. Small businesses typically go in the 1.5 to 3.5 multiple range. Nothing crazy about that. Purchase price, $300K. Your closing costs, accountants, lawyers, right? $3,000 there. So $303 total purchase price. 10% down, so you're putting $31K down on this. Now, lots of people are going to say, where can you buy a business where you only put 10% down? Everywhere. The deals are everywhere. 2 caveats though. You got to be patient and you got to be willing to look and work harder than the other people competing with you. I'm not talking about going online, looking at a broker's site, calling up a broker and buying a business. That's not what I'm talking about at all. Okay? Those deals are the worst of the worst of the worst. You want to do that, you're going to lose money, or you're going to buy a job that you hate and you're going to be stuck in, okay? I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about doing the work. I'm talking about doing the marketing. I'm talking about going out and hunting. I'm talking about talking to a lot of people, networking. That's how you get these deals. 10% down, 90% is coming from other people's money. Now, I got half of that coming from the seller, which is very typical. Sellers are typically financing 40 to 60%, sometimes 100%. The deal that I mentioned earlier, we had 100% financing from the seller. It's zero down. It's them taking everything back. And the other half I have coming just from private investors. So you raising capital yourself and paying people 10 to 12% on that capital. So half and half, so I came out to 5% because typically sellers aren't demanding an interest rate on their money, which I don't really understand. If I finance something for somebody, I'm going to want a return on that money. Usually not the case with sellers. They're just usually giving you their money for free. Again, I don't really understand. So that's how I came to the 5%. Half of it, no interest rate, half of it, 10 to 12%. All right. So $272K is other people's money. That works out to $5,140 a month. That's with the interest on there. Now the income of the deal. So this is money that this business is making. Oh, I should mention one thing. On the other people's money, your term is going to be shorter. You're not going to get a 30-year term like you would on a mortgage. This is a 5-year term, all right, on this money. So that's why your payment's a lot higher. Sellers want their money as quick as possible, right? 3 to 5 years is pretty typical. Private investors, I mean, it can be longer, it can be shorter. 5-year term on that money. So the income, so this is money that the business has been making. All right, this business, typical business that I'm looking to buy has been in operation minimum 3 years, typically looking for 5. Okay, so they have historical income. And this is net income of that business end of the day. So it's what it's already doing last year, and it's what you project it's going to do this year. Okay, 120K. Expenses, so this is just your financial expenses, excuse me, of 61,680, which is your 5,140 times 12, leaves you with a net income of $58,320, which leaves you with a net ROI, cash on cash return of 188%. 188%. 58,320 over your 31K invested. Wow. Okay. That's not bad. Now, what if I was to tell you that's not even the best part? It gets a lot better. I'm going to do part 2 to this video. Next week, I'll release it, and I'll show how through a few simple little steps, if you grow this business a little bit, you can exponentially increase that number. Okay? There's a lot more room to grow a business than there is to grow a real estate asset. Yeah, you can put in, some new fixtures, you can improve it a little bit. The cap on what you can rent that property for is there's a cap on that. There's a limit to that. There's a limit to what the market will bear for a certain type of property. You got 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. There's only so much you can improve that to where you outkick your coverage, you outkick the market, and you're not going to get a return on what you put in. A business isn't like that. You can grow a business as much as you want, as big as you want. There's a lot more room to improve it. So I'm going to get into how we can improve this number, not only by improving the business, but by another key factor as well. Okay? Thanks for watching. Jordan Hammond, buy, build, hold. Please give me some feedback. I'd love putting this content out here. I'm going to start putting a lot more of it out here. I think people are interested in micro private equity and certainly interested in making some returns like this. So like I said, give me some feedback, subscribe below, leave some comments, and look forward to catching you guys on the next video.